What are we doing now, Ryan? Oh, we're talking about comic books that we read.
We do read.
We do read comics, man.
I read a lot of comics.
Dude, we read some dope comics this week and last week and forever. Comic books are freaking awesome. We're going to be talking about 3 of them today.
We still have 2 of these to give away.
And I really recommend the comic fam read comics as well. You know what? Right? It's not just about...
I feel like a lot of this channel is about what's worth stuff and what's popping off and like what's moving in the market. And that's all well and good. It's all
awesome. I love it. I love comic collecting. The fam knows that I'm into comic collecting, obviously. You know, I do shows and stuff. But it's also about reading. These wouldn't be collectible if you couldn't read them.
Right.
You need them both.
I hear a lot of people reminiscing about when they were kids and they would hang out with their friends and they would pass books back and forth and try new things and get exposed to different stories. You know, I'm just trying to recapture some of that right here.
When we are at the table, taking out some of this medium, taking the medium out of the bag. I'm calling the art and the comic itself a medium because that's what it is. It's different than television and cartoons and movies and everything. And when you're chilling with your homies, we're going to be...
There's like 4 other buttons on there.
I'm getting... Hey, you know what? We're making more. All right.
Good. Okay, good.
This is what I have, and you're gonna, dude. I spent too much time clipping these to not use them. We're gonna be using them. That's true. And if you comment every single time, it's gonna make a really long show.
It's just gonna make it take so much longer. So shut the hell up and listen.
Just shut up, Ryan, and let's get into some comics that we're reading.
When we get off the camera.
That's right. All right. So the first thing we're chatting about today, Comic Fam. I'm looking at a comic book right here. It's called Chariot. It has this 80s art style vibe to it. But I don't think it's actually based off in the 80s.
It's modern day, I believe.
It's modern day. And this right here is an excellent book.
It's an excellent book written by Brian Edward Hill and drawn by Priscilla Petrates.
That's right.
I'm pretty sure I said that right.
I think Ryan said that right. And if he didn't, but you know what? Priscilla. It's okay. But this right here was
You draw very well, though.
She kills it. This comic is fantastic, and it's very simple. You have a lead character who's introduced and art that is stunning. All right, the color work is just on point. It's action filled, and something that I really like about this type of action comic is that it's not filled with a ton of narrative when it's unnecessary. It knows when to not speak.
That's part of the benefit of comics. Like you get words and you get images. And part of it is graphic storytelling. And right here you can see like a car chase happening.
That's right.
You don't need like an inner monologue or a bunch of even sound effects. There's really not a lot of like onomatopoeia sounds. There's no whooshes or screech or sorry for that.
No, I like that one, Ryan.
That was good.
That was a good screech right there.
Right into your I do a lot of drifting, so I know how that sounds from.
For those of you who don't know, Ryan is like really big on racing cars.
This was actually based on me right here, this sequence.
This sequence?
Just had to change it.
Well, I have to know, did you accidentally crash your car as an agent when you were working for like the FBI?
I was working for a super top secret government agency and I crashed my car over to the side of a bridge and then I drowned.
That's right. So what ends up happening here in this comic is that you see this something happened in the past. Oh, Comic Butch is in the house.
Butch!
Meowing like crazy. Okay, go over there, buddy. So we have the character here who dies in this car crash, and then we pick up years later with this father who has a sick son.
It's a completely unrelated character. Like we get a weird intro of this girl crashing her car off a bridge. Then we cut to a father, a sick son, his estranged ex-wife. The kid has like cancer, like kidney cancer or something bad. He's clearly bedridden, and they're running out of money. They got to find a way to pay for the kid's treatment.
All right, so we also have, here we go. Oh, whoopsies.
Hi, Butch.
There we go. Hey, Butch is in the house. Okay, so we have this character who's a mechanic, and he is actually faced with getting this car from the past. And as you can see here, this right here looks like a car that's got something going on with it. It's a car that is actually got the woman from the beginning, that her spirit is in the engine.
It's trippy.
It's very trippy. And because this mechanic is getting just beaten up
the mob is coming after him because he asked the mob for money to help his kid, with the bills.
That's right. And now that he is having to deal with this, there's this trouble that's now been caused, the car comes alive. And yes, the car is actually alive. The car it's like Knight Rider kind of stuff.
It kills everybody there.
It freaking drives them.
It's a pretty freaky sequence of like this. It's like a Christine sequence almost from Stephen King where like the car comes alive and just murders a bunch of gangsters.
That's right. And there is a really cool transition into issue 2 that is why we want to tell the community to check this out, because issue 2 gets into the spirit living in the car, or rather being projected out of the car right now. And it's so bizarre that I thought, hey, this is great for the mic, because there's probably not a whole lot of people reading it, and they should be.
It's from AWA, which is a favorite publisher of mine. This is issue 1 of 5. There's going to be 5 of these. They do a lot of short, self-contained miniseries. Issue 3 should be out soon, so it's about halfway done. The story's about halfway over, so if you want to, you can go out and pick these books up. Actually, all 3 of the books we're talking about are still ongoing. All
right, the next book that we're chatting about right here, right now, is Two Moons. This right here I'm surprised how much I like it, because it takes place during the Civil War, and I'm not traditionally that into that kind of like historical fiction. But this one incorporates a level of supernatural and is drawn so spectacularly well that we had to bring it to the mic.
This is drawn by Valerio Giangiordano.
That's right. Oh my goodness. And this guy, he kills it in this, man. I am so impressed with his work. This is a story that follows a gentleman named Two Moons, and he has ancestry of Native Americans, but he's raised by individuals who are not. And the best way to put it, he grows up He
doesn't grow up as part of the Native American community that he is.
He's assimilated
from,
right?
Yeah.
He's assimilated, and it follows him, but also a level of spiritual intervene. What am I saying here? Like
I don't know.
Yeah, I think there is a level of supernatural activity that is happening that you don't know if it truly is supernatural or not. But he's learning about his past. He's seeing things that may or may not be there.
He's seeing things, which is a really freaky thing for him to be experiencing. This book, it feels there's like 3 genres being kind of mixed up here. It's part war story, part Civil War, which you don't really see a lot of, especially comics dealing with the Civil War.
Supernatural things that are interwoven. That's what I was looking for.
There's Civil War. There's some supernatural stuff. It also feels a lot like a Western because of the time period. It's in the mid-1800s, which is when the Civil War happened, to put on my historian hat.
There you go. But
art, man. The art.
The art is insane, man.
I'm classically I'm interested in stories mostly, but like this one, you got a point.
Look at this. Yep. There it is. I knew you'd want it.
Thank you. I was hoping you would pull this page out. This 2-page spread.
This is incredible.
The detail on here, like each one of these soldiers, it's just a skirmish between the North and the South here.
It's outstanding. And really, this is what I'll leave you with, comic fam. It gets super trippy.
He kind of, what is it? Virgil is his not native name. He sees one of his fellow officers in the Union Army here. It's kind of creepy. He sees like a vision of him as like a monster guy. I feel like I thought this was going to be like a werewolf story based on the title, Two Moons. He's not a werewolf. He's like some kind of demon-looking guy with a giant mouth and a bunch of teeth. It's really creepy.
So you're going to know...
The question is, though, is that guy really a monster? Or is he just losing his mind?
Is it in his head?
Because he attacks the guy.
Right.
And he gets captured, I guess, like arrested by his fellow soldiers. Like, why are you attacking your superior officer? Like, we're going to arrest you and capture you, basically. And that's kind of where the issue ends.
So I wanted to bring this to the members' attention that Valerio Giangiordano, he was actually one of the first artists that we teamed up with. And you actually see the work on this screen here. This bottom center maestro is the variant cover that we did with Marvel for the Mystery Mail Call members a while back. And I had chatted with Valerio throughout this time, and we talked about some things on the mic about this very talented individual. But I had some more info that I wanted to bring to the mic about this person, because I had this in my DMs and I totally forgot about it. So it says here, because we're going to learn about this just incredible artist. He was born in 1980 and he's always loved comics. There are 3 comics that made me understand that I wanted to work in the comic market. The first, The Crow, for the emotional power of its pages, Hellboy for the style and technique of Mignola that I have studied for years, and Akira for the superlative storytelling and ability to create a powerful and perfect charcoal story. After graduating from comic school, he started making illustrations for educational books, children's books, and some small jobs in the US. and it was more of a hobby back then. Then he decided he would become professional. He started to do some of his favorite characters on Instagram on the internet of Marvel characters. And who was he hit up by, Ryan?
Marvel themselves.
That's right. Tom
Brevoort is how Donny Cates pronounced it.
Yeah, Tom Brevoort. And they said, hey, we want you to do some covers. And he started freelancing for them. He started doing 1 or 2 covers, and then he started doing a bunch. And you know what?
You can see why right here, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is it.
Look at the detail. Look at the lines.
It's got some like Wrightson vibes to it. It's got some, of course, Mignola negative space vibes. But he also mentions in this DM to me that was a year ago that he is working with an American publisher on a creator-owned project that he has hush-hush about. And I have a feeling that this is the one he was talking about.
That was 2 Moons. This book started
Coincidental.
End of last year, early this year.
That's right. Okay, last comic that we absolutely have to chat about, Maniac of New York. Are you freaking kidding me? This comic is it's so excellent. I have to read every single issue that comes out.
It's almost done.
It's almost done.
Yeah.
And I've read through issue 2, and I can say it's only picked up more. And this right here is just a very thought-provoking narrative. We have essentially, I mean, we should just call it for what it is. You have Jason, but it's not Jason because that's trademarked. But we have a killer running loose in New York.
It might as well be Jason, man. He's got the hockey mask on. He's carrying like a machete-looking thing right there.
I mean, no, for real though, like he's even modeled after Jason. And this is, you just watched the Friday the 13th movies.
I binge-watched all 11 of those things and like the 6-hour Friday the 13th documentary that's on Shudder. Like, I'm done. I'm never watching those again. But
when I tell you that this is based basically around the 8th movie.
The one where he actually goes to New York. Jason Takes Manhattan.
That's right.
Yes. Well, this comic is like that movie, but good.
It's like he stays there. However,
also, he's only in Manhattan for like the last half hour of that movie. Most of it's like
saying.
On a cruise ship or something. Like that movie. Oh, yeah, you don't have time for that.
Not very good. But here's the thing. What if he stayed there? What if a serial killer that you couldn't stop, that was virtually indestructible, was just living amongst the community, the city community in New York, in Manhattan, and was going on killing sprees whenever they wanted. That's what you follow here. It's a world where killings of this nature, it just becomes part of life. The community essentially looks at it like, this is just punishment for us not being great humans. We're just going to have to figure this out. We can't stop it. So you're living your life knowing that at any point, any
event you're at, these people are celebrating New Year's in Times Square, and it just turns into like a crazy massacre with a hockey mask guy just killing everybody. So like, it kind of becomes a part of these people's lives. You see like broadcasts on the news, and everyone's like, make sure you look out for the killer today. Like, stay safe, everyone. Don't get murdered.
Yeah, like this is everyone's having to deal with it. They're all dealing with the same thing, and we're actually following the detective, the sole detective on the case, because no one else has been able to figure it out, and they've virtually given up.
People are just kind of accepting it and living with it instead of trying to stop it or, figure out who this guy is, what's happening, why he's killing everybody, how he's not dying. There's a lot here, and it's going to end after issue 5. And issue 4 just came out yesterday, actually. So, by the way, it continues to get a lot better. It's written by Elliot Kalin and drawn by Andrea Muti.
And Andrea does such a great job. It's like, I don't know, it's a little bit of like, what's the best way to put it? It's like sketchy a little bit.
It's hard to describe this art. Yeah, it's muted, I think is a word that comes to mind. That might be more like the color is very muted, but the way that he handles like the lines, and it's all sketchy and it's rough, but that kind of makes it work better because it's about a murderer, like just cutting people to bits.
That's right. And we actually end this issue 1 with this particular murderer, Harry, the monster, the serial killer.
Well, let's back up. One of the real monsters of this story, other than the actual serial killer zombie guy, is like the mayor of the city, who's more concerned with his reelection and his ratings than he is with stopping the serial killer. Because
they've given up stopping him.
They've given up, so everyone's kind of moving on. So he's opening this new like automatic subway thing that doesn't have any people on it. I don't know why that's a big deal. There's no like nobody driving it, I guess. I've never ridden the subway, so I don't know why that would be like a bonus. But there's no people on it. There's no conductor. It's supposed to be on time. The first day of the subway opens, and it turns out Harry is on the train waiting to like kill everybody. And that's kind of how the issue ends.
That's right. And I got to say, you see the aftermath of this monster entering the subway, and doing the unspeakable, just slaughtering every single person. It's very mature, but you know what? We already warned you. We were into some weird stuff. We like some, some horror goodness, some slasher goodness, and this one is absolutely one of them.
Issue 5, the final issue, will be coming out in June. So there's still time if you want to pick this up and get caught up before the final issue comes out. Otherwise, it's going to make a pretty damn good trade.